out this way. Very practical. Now he says, you need to know the difference between being tested and being tempted. God will never tempt you, but he will test you. And you only test people hoping that they will pass the test, but you tempt them hoping they will fail. That's the big difference. Now God will test you, so count it all joy when you're tested, when things get tough. God is moving you up a class, moving you up a grade. You know, when General Booth's wife suffered greatly towards the end, or was it Hudson Taylor's wife? Hudson Taylor's wife, towards the end went blind and was suffering quite a lot. And somebody said, why should God do this to you when you've served him so faithfully? Oh, she said, he's putting the finishing touches to my character. See? Count it all joy when you're tested. If life's easy for you, don't rejoice. But when you're tested, moved up a grade, God's setting you an examination, and he wants you to pass, and he will test you to pass you, to move you up. Life is likely to get harder. I find, for example, that guidance gets harder. Do you? The Lord took mercy on us early and gave us such clear guidance we had no doubt, and then he puts you in a situation where you've really got to begin to work things out for yourself a bit. He doesn't spoon feed you about guidance as you mature. Do you find that? Or maybe you're one of those who got a hotline to heaven and gets telegrams for everything you want to know. I find it does get more difficult. God puts you in more responsibility and trusts you to make judgments instead of just giving you a text. So he's testing you. But it's the devil who tempts you, and he wants you to fail. And he can only tempt you if there's something in you already that he can get hold of. If there's some desire in you that takes the bait. So there's a lot here about testing and tempting. In the world you will be tested by God, but I'm afraid you'll be tempted by the devil as well. But here's a promise from somewhere else. God has promised that you will never, ever be tempted more than you can cope with. Which means, of course, that the devil is totally under God's control. Isn't that exciting? The devil can't touch you unless he gets permission from God first. Read the book of Job. And he can't tempt you. And so God has promised you so that you will never, ever be able to say as a Christian, I couldn't help it. But I hear Christians saying that and queuing up for deliverance rather than facing the facts that God has told them, has given them the grace to say no. And that temptation is not too much for them. But the devil can only tempt us when we want something we shouldn't have. And he can latch onto that. And he hooks you. So in the world we face testing and temptation. One comes from God in the hope that you'll pass the test. The other comes from the devil in the hope that you'll fail. And we need the wisdom to discern which is which. A man once came to me on a Tuesday evening in our fellowship down at Guildford, and he said, David, Satan's been having a go at me all day. I said, tell me how. Well, he said, I got up late, and he said, I rushed my breakfast, ran for the train at Guildford Station, and saw it just pulling out as I got there. He said, I had to catch the next train. I missed a most urgent appointment. He said, from then on, just everything's gone wrong. The devil's really had a go at me. I said, no, he hasn't. I said, why did you get up late? He said, forgot to set the alarm last night. See? We should not blame the devil, because often the flesh that's the problem, you see. I don't think the devil had any hand in that whatsoever. But it's so nice, you know, for Christians to make the devil the scapegoat. When the devil really gets at you, but it's more serious than that. But we shall be tempted, but never more than we can cope with.